Hello world, I'm Del Hussein and this is the Wow Mind. Now you're a professional boxer and you're part of an elite group of this sport, really, because it's growing like no one's business around the world. And there's some really interesting, I think the famous one in the UK is Jessica, the lady who
Katie
did the...
Taylor.
Oh, Katie Taylor. Yeah. But the lady who did the Olympics.
Oh, Nicola Adams.
I beg your pardon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nicola Adams, who did really, I guess, introduced it to the UK. Mm. And she's now doing Strictly Come Dancing or something, I think.
Did. Yeah.
But I mean, do you all sports people know each other like this? Do you kind of know these ladies?
I've met Nicola. I've met Katie Taylor as well. I don't know if she remembers me, but we definitely met at events and fights and shows.
Is she heavier weight than you?
No, Nicola is actually the same weight. I'm actually smaller build than her. I think I am a smaller...
So you're like 48 kilos.
48 kilos in Thai boxing, and then I went up to 51 kilos for boxing.
Right.
So my last two fights were at 51 kilos, although I could get down to 50 or 49. But my opponent wanted it at that weight, so we went for it. So it wasn't too bad. So yeah, I would be maybe fighting between 49 and 51. So that's my weight division, I would say. I sparred Nicola, went down to Sheffield once, and it was a really good spar. And that's when I realized I belong here, because if I'm in the ring with an Olympic gold medalist, and then it was an even round, all 6 rounds, I believe. And in fact, I had the edge in 1 or 2 of the rounds.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, it gave me the confidence to continue and to carry on. And I was pleased with that. I was pleased with the performance.
Yeah. Well, I think you've got this kind of opportunity, like you say, you're boxing with the best in the world, and you're holding your own. But you're already world champion. You have 2 different world champions.
But this is what people forget, that I'm transitioning into a different sport, which has a different guard position, has a different rhythm, different timing, different distancing. Even the psychology is different, and I'm kind of matching people who are elite in that sport, given the fact that I don't know that sport as well as they do, or haven't had that experience. So when I made my debut, I was fighting out of instinct. Whereas now I believe I deserve a fair chance to really show what I'm capable of, to myself, in fact, not just to other people, to myself. I want to be able to test myself to see what I'm capable of, because I don't believe I've reached my potential yet. Hence, I haven't retired. I want to continue on this journey and on this path.
Well, you've ended up now doing so many other things as well. I mean, we briefly just mentioned, but I do have to say about your book, Born Fighter. Now, how great does it feel to have a book
it's incredible
out there? I mean, they say 3 things, don't they? Like, one of the key things in life is that you should write a book. So you've done that.
God,
tick that off. World Championship is not really on the list for most people, but you've done that too. So you've kind of done this, and this is now a bestseller as well.
Yeah.
And you're even having discussions about doing more stuff with this, aren't you?
It's so what's happening? Because I want to write book number 2 about mental health now. Wow, because I feel like I've got an audience who, people who come from, say, my kind of background. I don't think it's ever been done before. Who have actually written a book about mental health, about arranged marriages, about panic attacks, about just general universal problems. In fact, even the bullying that I encountered in the gym, that affected me greatly. So it's not just for Muslim women, it's not just for ethnic minorities, it's for everyone, but there's aspects that everyone can take away from, because it's a universal thing that they'll be able to relate to. So this is one of the things that in my head, I feel like I want to be able to serve humanity. I want to be able to, there's reasons why you go through certain patches in your life and if you can turn that into a positive, that's what it's about. So for me, I feel like I'm at that stage, especially with the global pandemic. How do you heal yourself? How do you stay positive? And it's okay to have bad days. I had a bad day yesterday. And it's about self-talk, that inner monologue. And, I want to be able to share the lessons that I've gained over this period to help others on their journey. I guess that's one of my next steps. Also thinking about turning it into a film. Born Fighter has now been
amazing.
Has grabbed quite a lot of media attention. So it's been nominated Sports Book of the Year by Guardian, as well as William Hill. You can get it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I know, I'm really happy with that, really pleased. And I think because it resonates with people from all walks of life, because there's universal things in there that people can relate to, such as the bullying.
Well, talk to us about bullying, because it's not the first thing that occurs to someone, the world champion as a bully.
I think, we all go through...
Because it's a psychological bully, I would imagine, more than a physical one.
Yeah, absolutely. Psychological, whether it was in the arranged marriage and then I came out and I went to the gym, and then my peers were bullying me and they refused to train with me. They would make me feel isolated. The whole gym would be invited to a Christmas party, but I wouldn't be. It's like they
do you think that was
encountering
a bit of racism there?
You know what? It could be some
or jealousy.
Biases. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to label something because I don't know what was going through their minds, but I definitely know how I felt and how I was made to feel. And it was years of neglect and being isolated, and they would refuse to train with me, so I would have to train with my coach separately. But that wasn't ideal because I needed training partners, especially on an elite level. You need sparring partners. You need people to drill with. So it was incredibly difficult to navigate through the challenges that I was facing with being a woman in a gym, being a small ethnic minority, being someone who suffered from ME, and then the bullying on top. It made it almost impossible to train in that environment. But I would, come out of the gym and then shed my tears. But whilst I was in there, I would put up a facade and just like, let's just get through it. They can't see me cry. And then I would sit in the tube and I'd cry. And I had no one to really be able to talk to, because everyone would ask me to just give up the sport if I had revealed how I was feeling, because no one knew I was going to become a world champion. They just thought, why are you wasting your time? It doesn't pay you. It makes you unhappy. It's doing so much to you. Why would you do this to yourself? But I was able to differentiate between the sport and the people in it. And I just continued. And I knew one day I walked into the track, because I did a little bit of training at the track as well. And I spoke to the coach then. He said, it's lonely at the top. He said, speak to one of his other Olympic athletes. He said, to speak to her. And she feels exactly how you do.
Really?
Yeah. It was Perry Shake Straighten, actually. And he said to me, speak to Perry. She will be able to tell you that it is lonely at the top. So
that's really
that was
fascinating.
Quite reassuring for me as well, because I knew, maybe because I was slightly different as well. I wasn't, I wasn't white. I wasn't in a clique in that gym. They saw me as a threat. When people can't label you and put you in a box, they see you as a threat.
You're an outlier.
Yeah.
You
I was unpredictable. Completely unpredictable.
You don't follow the mold of what they expect.
No.
But you like the top fighters. I remember the last fight I went to that you were boxing in, and I just turned to my left and there's this man mountain there, and it was Joe Joyce, who's now, he's up there as potential future world champion, maybe. And he was like, go on, Ruqsana. Yeah, so you got some really good friends, and you're also friends with, you've done some training with Tyson Fury as well, who's on your side.
Do you know what? Life has been good to me. This is what I'm talking about. I think when you have a positive outlet, you can manifest and attract things into your life. I don't know how I bumped into Tyson Fury. The whole, if I'm in England, if I message him, he will not even see my message. He's
got 1 million people on his thing,
Yeah, there's me in Las Vegas. We happened to be in Las Vegas at the same time.
You were training, weren't you?
Yeah, and I knew that the coach that I was training with, he said he's the manager of Top Rank Gym, and he said, "Oh, Tyson Fury's in town. I need to go and open the gym." I said, "Oh, can I come and say hello?" He said, "You need to ask him because they have a private gym. It's a closed door training. No one's allowed in." So then I messaged Tyson, not expecting a reply, saying, "Can I just come and say hello?" Like a little girl. And he said, "Of course you can." He actually got back to me. So I turned up at the gym. I see him training in the ring. I thought, no, I'm going to sit there quietly in the corner somewhere. He pulled me in. He said, "Come in, do your shadow boxing." And then that was it. We were in,
Awesome.
camp together. It was amazing. Joyce, I had the privilege of training with like few camps. Such a great guy, I think he's underestimated. He's incredibly fit.
He had a good win with Dubois recently.
He doesn't talk a lot, but he's very smart. And it's such I'm very good friends with his mom as well. So she was there cheering for me. And it's in fact, because she's partially blind as well. So when my eye closed after the fight, I said to her, "Now I know how you feel." And honestly, you can't gauge your distance or your balance with one eye closed. And I was so, my coach said to me, if that was anyone else, most people would have given up by now.
Yeah.
And I lasted the whole fight. And it was just a shame because that happened in the first 30 seconds, which means I was at this one. I couldn't see where she was. I didn't know how close she was.
But it's amazing how quickly those kind of wounds heal as well.
It took me 3-4 weeks. I was like,
because when I saw it, and I was like, wow, this is like a Rocky movie.
I was scared to see my parents.
Yeah, no, you couldn't have.
I went there with
but your sister was there, wasn't she?
My sister was there. She came, but because I live by myself, and my parents were like, "Oh, we want to see you," and I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, not at the moment.
If they saw me, they did see me because I walked in with my sunglasses on. And at one point, I sat in the kitchen and my parents are both in the living room. So I took it off and I can breathe now. And my dad walked in and my mum walked in. No. I'm like, "Oh, shit." Did
they see it?
They did see it. They were not happy. They were not happy, but they didn't know what to say. They probably felt so sorry for me. And then they just walked out. They didn't have any words. But I do feel for them too, because as parents, to see your daughter with like one eye closed,
what can you say?
Completely, it's if I saw my niece that way, my heart would bleed.
Yeah.
So especially for my mom, she's not used to. She's never had those kind of to understand that and to be able to understand sport. My dad is slightly different. He's a man. You can maybe think, she just did she had a competition. But it is difficult.
Well, this is in stark contrast to one of the other kind of careers that you have, because you also model. And whether it's Adidas, Pandora, you've got a whole list of kind of sponsors that you've had over the time that have like wanted you to be the face of their brands. And I would have thought that would have been like the other end of boxing and Muay Thai, because your face is like your money, really.
I mean,
how have you done that?
I see it as a bonus, if I'm honest. I see myself as a boxer, as a fighter, as an athlete, and everything else is a bonus. And the modeling, I've always saw myself like, I've always wanted to try it. And I got signed up by an agency, and then I think Adidas reached out to me first when I first became a world champion, and it was incredible. They treated me so well. Flew me to America. We did our shoot.
I trained in secret, the only woman in a man's gym. I wanted to be part of the sport. So I got creative and built a new world where I got to be myself. Then I created a way where Muslim women can join me in the spotlight. I want you to see us and all that we can do. I'm Ruqsana Begum, and my creativity makes the world see us differently.
And then I came back, and then Pandora were doing a shoot in South Africa, so I got to go there. It was incredible. I've been fortunate in that sense. But I forget some of the stuff. So thank you for reminding me. And then Karen Millen, I love Karen Millen clothing. So I reached out to them saying, look, do you want to sponsor me for events? And then they said, of course we would. And then they had a campaign coming up. They thought I would be perfect for as an inspirational woman. So they used me as part of their campaign. So yeah, I have been really blessed, but I do a lot of, I do a lot of groundwork. I try and reach out.
You represent yourself, don't you? You manage yourself, and you're your own marketing agent.
Yeah, I do need an agent, and a PR team. So I can delegate some of this work.
Well, if you're getting Adidas by yourself, I don't know that they can do much more.
I think this is it. It's really hard.
You're pretty good. Maybe you should have a second career when this is, when you move on, where you become a sports agent. It's true, because I actually know the direction I need to go in better than most people. Yeah.
I can advise them. They could just do the process, but normally I have the vision. And then I try and help navigate that vision through other people. Same as the book. I never had an agent.
Yeah, it's an amazing achievement.
I used my ghostwriter's agent to then represent me. But again, it was just an idea I had, and I was persistent. We got rejected 5-6 times. Then we went back to the same...
It's another fight.
Yeah, it was another fight. Publishing house.
Everything you do is a fight.
Oh, God, I'm tired.
Well, maybe, you've got it, because if you think about it, there's a massive parallel there between your...
boxing world and my...
personal life,
Absolutely.
Really. Everything. You seem to be fighting for everything,
And I do it on my own too, which is really sad. I was talking to
it's probably the best way, because otherwise someone else sometimes
their opinions can
well, but a trouble shared sometimes is a trouble doubled rather than halved.
I thought it's halved.
Yeah, I don't know. Two people worry.
It's true.
Yeah, two people worry. They can't do anything.
It depends who your mentor is. If you have the right people around you, then they can help you elevate yourself.
Yeah.
But if you have the wrong friends, the wrong company, they can reduce you. I think that's why I keep myself to myself, and I keep myself very level-headed, because the moment you give someone else permission to have a say in your life, they're influencing you.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be told, oh, you're too old, or you're too small, or you're too this, or you're... sorry, I don't want to listen. I want to do what I feel my vision is.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it. I'm living that life. So
what is the next steps for you?
I think obviously during the pandemic I can't really fight, but I'm still in training. I'm hoping to fight.
You just come from training now.
I did indeed. I'm hoping to fight next year and write a book, hopefully on mental health. Just, I want to be able to share the lessons I've learned through my journey with others. So I want to start up something new.
Brilliant.
And exciting.
So your role, really, you're becoming more and more an ambassador of representing other people. I think you've been an inspiration for a lot of women, a lot of young women, and I think most interviews that have you in, it's usually somebody saying, well, you're so inspirational, so you get that all the time. But actually now you're beginning to manifest it in, say, a book like this, going through your kind of mental health experience that you've had. You've had it full on, where you've been told ME, wheelchair, all of that stuff. Yeah. And then now you...
Absolutely. I feel like, how can I turn my weaknesses into strengths? And instead of just... I've had my boxing journey, or I've done my Thai boxing, and then you expire and you retire. I don't want to do that. I think life is all about progressing and being, the energy needs to move forward all the time. You need to constantly grow, whether that's physically, emotionally, spiritually. You need to constantly move forward. And I think the next stage of my life is about, giving back to communities. I've been so blessed, and I'm going to continue to pursue my dreams, but I want to be able to integrate that into what I've been able to learn from my journey and pass that on to the next generation. I think that's so important, because I see my little niece now grow up, nieces, too, and they need that guidance and input, because imagine the confidence that they will grow up with. They'll be able to accomplish anything they want if they're given the right input, the right guidance. So it's so important to have family members or mentors in your life that can guide you.
Do you do any kind of training with women for their own self-esteem or confidence? Or
So I run a class every Sunday.
With men, not even women, actually. Men would gain a lot from talking to you.
Well, I do inspirational talking sometimes for like certain corporate companies, schools. Obviously, during the pandemic, it's a bit difficult right now. But yeah, I do, and I hold a ladies-only kickboxing class on a Sunday, and I feel like that really helps people with their self-esteem. People come in really quiet, shy. They don't even know how to say their name because they're that shy. And eventually, I get them up to a point where they're actually integrating into society, talking to people from, because I have doctors in there and journalists, and then say a young Somalian girl. So they're mixing with people that they would never really integrated with before, and now they're comfortable in that scenario, and once they're comfortable, they can then take that into all aspects of their lives. So I feel like it's a really important project for myself to be able to do that.
Yes, brilliant. It's almost like a Ruqsana school of bringing yourself out, really, and building your confidence.
I hope so.
Well, maybe that's the direction your book might go in as well, really, which would be great. Listen, Ruqsana, you've been brilliant, and thank you so much.